Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal part 253 to 254 based on novel. So let's start. With Master Yi Long temporarily holding off two soldiers, Master Yi Xiong charged out at the remaining two soldiers. His hands formed a seal, then he grabbed one and threw it toward Master Yi Long. As a result, there was only one soldier left. Just as the soldier was about to charge into the white fog, Master Hollow Wind's eyes lit up. His hand reached out, causing the soldier to tremble, and pulled it back. Master Hollow Wind was now battling 4 celestial soldiers. Although these 10 celestial soldiers had powerful bodies, it wasn't difficult for Master Hollow Wind and company. Wang Lin felt lucky when he saw this. If he hadn't fled the demon spirit land back then and was determined to break the restrictions, then even if he had reached this point, he would have had no way of dealing with the flower spirit or celestial soldiers. Wang Lin's expression was calm as he walked toward the palace at the center. However, before he even got close, a shocking change occurred. At this instant, the 4 towers became blurry in Wang Lin's and became illusions. At the same time, powerful lights came from the illusions. The powerful lights fused and turned into a tortoise shell that surrounded the palace. From a distance, it was as if a giant tortoise shell was covering the palace. At the same time, 4 strands of green smoke came from the tortoise shell and turned into 4 green-robed elders. Wang Lin's expression was calm as he looked at the 4 elders. They were all souls with cultivation levels between early and mid-stage Nirvana Scrya. The 4 elders all had the air of celestials and gave off dense celestial spiritual energy. One of them had eyes like lightning as he stared at Wang Lin and shouted, "Lower Realm Dirt, you dare to invade the celestial cave? Your punishment is death." After he spoke, he didn't even give Wang Lin time to explain before he stepped forward and pointed up at the sky. All the celestial spiritual energy inside the cave gathered to form a vortex in his hand. This vortex collapsed as the old man pointed at it, but then a roar came out from within. A beast charged out of the collapsed vortex. This beast was covered in black fur. It was obviously a huge primal ape. It was about 10 feet tall, and it directly lunged at Wang Lin. The old man moved with a gloomy expression. He turned into a ray of green light and charged at Wang Lin behind the primal ape. The 3 others elders also moved. One of them raised his hand, causing a storm of sand and dirt to appear. The storm took the shape of a python that attempted to devour Wang Lin. Another person extended their arm, and the arm turned into green smoke. As the celestial spiritual energy in the cave gathered, he turned into a giant eagle that shot toward Wang Lin like lightning. The final elder's eyes lit up and his hands formed a seal. He pointed up at the sky and shouted, "Celestial Mountain Attack." The moment he spoke, a rumbling sound came from the cave and then a large mountain appeared and smashed down on Wang Lin. In an instant, the 4 elders attacked at the same time. Their celestial spells worked together with the intent to kill. Wang Lin's eyes shined brightly, and instead of retreating, he charged forward. As the ape closed in, Wang Lin's right hand formed a fist and he threw a punch. A loud rumble appeared with this punch, and as they passed each other, Wang Lin's fist hit the chest of the ape. Rumbling sounds came from the giant ape's upper body and then it quickly retreated. However, it only retreated 3 steps before the upper half of its body exploded. Without pausing, Wang Lin jumped into the air. He pointed down and calmly said, "Wither Dao Pair." After he spoke, the Wither Dao Pair on the back of his hand released a dark glow and flew out. A grim beast skull flew out filled with black mist. A ghostly light came from the eyes of the beast skull. At this instant, a shocking killing aura appeared, and as the ghostly light shined, grey light covered the giant eagle that was charging at Wang Lin. In an instant, the eagle turned into a stone statue. At this moment, the black python closed in. It opened its mouth and a powerful suction force came out. A powerful smell of blood drifted from its mouth as it attempted to devour Wang Lin. There was a flash of coldness in Wang Lin's eyes as he retreated, slapped his bag of holding, and shouted 3 sets of 9 sword. Golden swords immediately flew out of his bag and floated around him. There were 27 swords. The moment the 27 swords appeared, They organized into a sword formation and shot toward the giant python. Boom, 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 boom. As the shocking rumbles echoed, the python was surrounded by the 27 swords. The swords rapidly pierced through the python, causing it to let out bursts of miserable cries. Although all this sounds slow, it all happened in an instant. The inner cave suddenly darkened as the celestial mountain penetrated the white fog and smashed down. Wang Lin's expression remained neutral as he spat out an item. It was the 18 Hell Celestial Sealing Stamp. The moment it appeared, it grew and charged at the celestial mountain. It collided with the mountain with a bang. Taking advantage of this moment, there was a flash of killing intent in Wang Lin's eyes and he shouted, "Call the wind." All of a sudden, the world changed colors, then a black wind appeared in Wang Lin's hand and covered the world. 4 black dragons immediately appeared within the black wind and charged out with roars. The expression of Old Man that had summoned the giant ape changed greatly and he shouted, "By Fan's spell." He didn't hesitate to retreat, but he was too late. One of the black dragons devoured him. Of the remaining 3, aside from the one that summoned the mountain, the other 2 weren't able to escape and were devoured by the black dragons. All of this happened too quickly. The remaining elder retreated and landed on the tortoise. He chanted a strange spell and then light flowed into him from the shell like water. Seeing the old man's aura increase, how could Wang Lin let him do as he wished? Wang Lin raised his right hand and said, "Stop." At this instant, the old man felt like he had entered a trance, and he clearly felt his body get surrounded by countless invisible threads. He muttered, "Stop spell." He had a strange expression and was about to speak when the last black dragon devoured him. Wang Lin saw the strange expression that appeared on the old man's face, but this wasn't the time to think about it. Wang Lin arrived before the tortoise shell and raised his right hand. He formed a fist, and the illusion of an ancient god arm appeared. He mercilessly smashed down on the tortoise shell below him. There was a loud rumble, as if the entire cave was trembling, and countless cracks appeared on the ground. The tortoise shell flickered violently but showed no sign of breaking. At this moment, Master Hollow Wind and company had finished off the celestial soldiers and the silver corpse had finished absorbing the flower spirits. Her face was rosy, and she seemed to have undergone a mysterious change. Break this formation. With one order from Wang Lin, everyone used their various spells with the shell as their target. As the thunderous rumbles echoed, the tortoise shell flickered once more. The stone bridge started to collapse and was soon completely destroyed. However, the tortoise shell remained intact and had only dimmed a little. Wang Lin frowned and was secretly shocked. The protective ability of this tortoise shell was beyond his expectations. Neither his own ancient god fist nor the attacks of many old monsters caused the tortoise shell to collapse. I don't know if the celestial caves that the All-Seer and Ling Tianhu went into also had shells like this. If they had the shell too, how did they break it? Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he looked at the tortoise shell. Not only was he shocked, even Master Hollow Wind and company were shocked, and their gazes gathered on the tortoise shell. Just as everyone looked at the tortoise shell, it began to flash and gradually revealed the palace within. The palace was completely dark, making it impossible to see inside, but there were footsteps coming out from inside. The cave was quiet, so although the footsteps were light, they could clearly hear them. These footsteps had a strange force, and when their sounds entered everyone's ears, they unexpectedly synchronized with their heartbeats. It was as if every step was stepping on their hearts. Master Hollow Wind's expression changed and the origin energy inside his body cycled rapidly to finally separate his heartbeat from the sounds of the footsteps. However, the 3 Chen brothers, Big Head, and Lei Ji didn't have the cultivation to do this. As the footsteps closed in, their faces turned pale. Only the silver corpse remained normal. She was a corpse with intelligence, so without a heartbeat, she wasn't affected. Wang Lin's expression gradually became gloomy. He had the body of an ancient god, so he could withstand this level of mental attack. The footsteps became more and more clear, as if someone was walking out from the depths of the palace. The 3 Chen brothers' faces became even more pale and the veins on Big Head's head swelled up. Lei Ji had the lowest cultivation level. His body trembled and he retreated a few steps, but he still couldn't endure it. He let out a roar and his body expanded to few hundred feet tall to finally be able to endure it. The footsteps seemed to have reached the entrance of the palace. At this moment, a white figure appeared from within the palace. A ray of light pierced through the tortoise shell and landed on Wang Lin. A sense of life and death crisis that hadn't appeared in a long time suddenly surrounded Wang Lin like a storm. It caused all the hair on his body to stand up. Wang Lin's current cultivation was not the same as before, so not many situations could make him feel danger, especially after he became a 5-star royal ancient god. Unless the enemy's cultivation level was late-stage Nirvana cleanser or above, it would be impossible for Wang Lin to feel a strong sense of danger. However, the moment the white figure appeared, Wang Lin's sense of crisis reached a peak. Wang Lin hadn't experienced the feeling of all his hair standing up in a while now. His pupils shrank and he subconsciously retreated a few steps. The blue light in his eyes shined as he stared at the white figure. A quiet sigh came from inside the palace. The white figure walked out, and what appeared before Wang Lin and company was a beautiful woman. This woman was very beautiful, almost to a demonic level. Even though Liu Mai didn't lose in appearance, she lacked an unspeakable feeling. It was as if this woman was a flower of the world. She would bloom and wither along with the world. She only showed half her body. After her gaze swept past Wang Lin, she looked at everyone else before retreating. However, just a glance had caused Wang Lin feel as if a hammer had mercilessly smashed his heart. He felt a buzz in his head and he coughed out a mouthful of blood. Then he retreated a few dozen feet and his expression became gloomy. If Wang Lin was like this, everyone else was worse off. Master Hollow Wind's eyes widened and became bloodshot before he coughed out a mouthful of blood. His mountain-like body trembled and rapidly shrank until he was only half of his original size. Large amounts of origin energy entered his mind as he retreated dozens of feet before he stopped. His face was pale and he was aghast by the situation as he shouted, "Flower Celestial!" The 3 Chen brothers weren't able to resist at all. With one glance, Master Yi Chen's eyes went unfocused and the sounds of things popping came from his chest. He coughed out a large mouthful of blood and fell from the sky. At that moment, the panic in his eyes reached a peak. As for Master Yi Xiong and Master Yi Long, it was as if their hearts were pierced, and blood spewed out from their pores, soaking their clothes in blood. They fell from the sky and began to cultivate without hesitation. Big Head and Lei Ji were the same. Lei Ji's large body wasn't able to withstand the shock to his mind. He knelt down on the ground and his face was ashen. Only the silver corpse remained normal, but there was a flash of strange light in her eyes. Just one glance contained such terrifying power, and this made Wang Lin gloomy. This was merely one of the 4 outer caves, but it was already so dangerous. Once they entered the final cave, it was obvious there would be danger at every corner. "I fear this trip to the Demon Spirit Land will be the most dangerous trip I, Wang Lin, have made in my life." Wang Lin had anticipated danger, but he didn't think that their power would be bit lacking in just the outer cave with the people he brought. Seeing the white figure disappear back into the darkness of the palace, Wang Lin's eyes lit up. With his intelligence, he obviously knew that that gaze was a warning them, especially Wang Lin, to not enter. If it was any other time, Wang Lin would choose to avoid this place after facing such a warning and powerful attack. After all, what he was doing now was same as invading someone's cave. However, this was a trip Wang Lin had to make. All of this was for Zhu Yi. His greatest wish was to revive Qing Shuang, and the one with the best chance to revive her was her father, Qing Lin. Wang Lin still felt grateful toward Zhu Yi, like how he felt grateful toward Sichu Nan. Sichu Nan had helped Wang Lin get on the path to become a cultivator, and Zhu Yi had played a critical role in his cultivation. If not for Zhu Yi's ascendant crystal, Wang Lin would have already died along the path of cultivation. Moreover, although the poison inside Sichu Nan was suppressed for now, both of them knew that if it was not dealt with, the consequences would be extremely serious. It could be said that the hopes of both of his most important benefactors, Sichu and Zhu Yi, were all here. Even if it was dangerous, he could not choose to retreat. Even if he had to invade someone else's cave and do unjust things, Wang Lin would have no regrets. In this world, it was hard to say who was right or wrong. As long as he was helping Ju Yi and Sichu Nan, to him, he was in the right. However, for the white figure in the palace, the person who invaded the cave was in the wrong. Since I made the choice, then I must walk down this path. Wang Lin took a deep breath as he stood before the tortoiseshell, and his right hand reached toward the void. A thunderous rumble echoed across the cave as if a spatial rift was opened inside it. As the cold wind blew, strands of black light began to gather. Soon, the illusion of a spear appeared in Wang Lin's hand. Large amounts of thunder filled the area and crackling sounds echoed inside the quiet cave. At this moment, the shadow of an ancient god appeared behind Wang Lin. As he grabbed the god-slaying spear, the ancient god shadow also reached out, and there was a loud rumble. A god-slaying spear unexpectedly appeared in the shadow's hand as well. A powerful surge of origin energy filled the cave. As Wang Lin took a deep breath and lifted the god-slaying spear, the gravel on the ground began floating into the air. Not only the gravel, but even the water in the river seemed to stop flowing and floated into the air. Debris from the 4 broken towers also floated into the air. At this moment, the entire camp became strange. I don't wish to hurt anyone. Even the 4 souls earlier were just remnants and not the original bodies. Even now, I only want to break this shell and open the passage to the cave. Wang Lin's third eye slowly appeared, and hidden under the third eye, the 5 stars rotated rapidly. The power of an ancient god filled Wang Lin's body. Wang Lin's body suddenly moved and then the god-slaying spear gently moved. As the spear moved it was as if space itself was being sliced through. Holding the god-slaying spear, Wang Lin moved like lightning toward the tortoise shell. When Wang Lin got near, determination filled his eyes and he shouted, "Master Hollow Wind, Silver Corpse, help me break the shell." Master Hollow Wind clenched his teeth and moved. His body rapidly shrank until he was the size of a normal person. Then his body released a golden glow and a giant stone tablet appeared. There were many runes on this stone tablet, and it gave off a golden glow. When Master Hollow Wind pointed forward, the stone tablet whistled through the air toward the tortoise shell. There was a loud bang when the stone tablet smashed down on the shell, causing it to flash violently. The silver corpse spat out a 5-colored smoke that headed straight for the tortoise shell. The 5-colored smoke covered the tortoise shell and started to melt it. The tortoise shell began to flash even more violently. At this moment, Wang Lin mercilessly threw the god-slaying spear down. This god-slaying spear was like a mad dragon that whistled through the air toward the tortoise shell. It was so fast that the tip of the spear touched the tortoise shell almost instantly. A circular ripple suddenly spread out from the spear and caused a loud rumble. At the same time, fine cracks appeared on the shell where the spear collided. The moment the cracks appeared, the 5-colored smoke entered the cracks. Adding the impact of the golden stone tablet, the cracks became even larger until the shell completely collapsed. When it collapsed, the entire palace was lit up. The pieces of shells were all pushed back by the force. The god-slaying spear was current, displaying all the power Wang Lin could release with it. After breaking through the tortoise shell, it shot toward the palace under it. Along with it was the 5-colored smoke. However, at that moment, the sense of crisis that made Wang Lin's hair stand on end appeared once more. This time it was even stronger than before. A white palm extended out from the palace and pointed at the god-slaying spear. Countless flowers of various colors appeared in the sky. There were so many that they immediately covered the sky and stopped the god-slaying spear. As for the 5-colored smoke, it immediately turned into a 5-colored flower that floated in the air. The white figure walked out and raised her beautiful hand. She coldly stared at Wang Lin and pointed at him. At this instant, Wang Lin's pupils suddenly shrank, then he opened his mouth and spat something out. It was the protection treasure Master Flamespark had gifted him, a Thunder Celestial Realm fragment. There were some cracks on the fragment that were caused by the All-Seer's spell. At this moment, the celestial fragment flew out and immediately grew until it was 1,000 feet wide. It was like a shield protecting Wang Lin. However, right when the celestial fragment appeared, countless flowers bloomed on the fragment. These flowers were all extremely gorgeous, and they released a nice fragrance. "I have already warned you." A soft but extremely cold voice echoed. Just as this sound appeared, the The celestial fragment covered in flowers suddenly shattered. When the celestial fragment collapsed, the smell of the flowers landed on Wang Lin. He felt an unimaginable impact hit his body, and his insides popped and he coughed out a mouthful of blood. Terror filled Wang Lin's eyes and he quickly retreated. Who the hell is she? Could she really be a flower celestial? Wang Lin's scalp felt numb. He knew he was fortunate he had the body of an ancient god. If he was a normal cultivator, he would have died without a doubt. Even so, the pain from his body made his mind tremble. The collapse of the celestial fragment shocked Wang Lin. Although cracks had appeared on the celestial fragment due to the All-Seer spell, it was still an extremely powerful protective treasure. However, it had collapsed in such a strange way from one point of the woman's finger. Wang Lin couldn't help but gasp and quickly retreat. The woman was surprised, and she walked out a few steps. Looking at Wang Lin with her cold gaze, she raised her right hand and gently pointed at the void. At this instant, the sense of crisis drowned Wang Lin like a flood. He only felt a pain from his chest as if a sharp thorn was going to pierce it. Under this intense pain, he activated his ancient god power without hesitation. Popping sounds came from his chest and then an illusionary plant appeared before his chest, but its roots were broken by the ancient god power. The woman in white frowned and calmly said, "No wonder you dared to invade the cave, you indeed have some qualifications." With that, her jade-like hand pointed to the side. Master Hollow Wind, who was ready to escape in case something went wrong, was immediately surrounded by blooming flowers. The fragrance covered him, and his expression immediately became pale. He immediately sat down to cultivate in the sea of flowers regardless of the crisis. He had to cultivate to force the poison out of his body as fast as possible. The moment he sat down, the flowers closed in and surrounded Master Hollow Wind. From a distance, you could see an endless sea of flowers, but not Master Hollow Wind. The three Chen brothers and Big Head were terrified. They wanted to retreat, but they were covered by flowers. Before they could use any spells, they were surrounded by the sea of flowers. As for the silver corpse, she was also surrounded by the sea of flowers, so it was impossible to see her anymore. Looking around, Wang Lin was the only one remaining. The woman's cold gaze fell on Wang Lin. Wang Lin felt his mind tremble once more. A ray of blue light shot out from his right eye and the azure light shield appeared before him. Immediately following that, popping soundings could be heard before him. Flowers appeared in the air and shattered as the azure light shield swept by. The flowers scattered, but the strange fragrance became even stronger. The woman in white frowned even harder. She took a hairpin out of her hair with her right hand and, after looking at it, threw it forward. A sharp sound that could pierce the Origin's soul immediately echoed across the cave. The hairpin flew directly at Wang Lin. It was so fast that even Wang Lin wasn't able to keep track of it. He could only hear popping sounds echo around him as he retreated. Every pop meant the azure light shield being hit. The feeling of life and death crisis enveloped Wang Lin's body. He couldn't see through her cultivation, but he felt that her cultivation was more terrifying than Master Flamespark's. The woman raised her right hand once more, forming a strange seal, and softly said, "Burial flower." After she spoke, countless flowers bloomed wherever there was light. There was simply too many flowers, causing the cave to become a world of flowers. The moment she said burial flower, the flowers seemed to reach their peak and began to wilt. As the stems rapidly withered, the petals fell off like a rain of petals. As the woman's hand formed that seal, all of the petals surged at Wang Lin as if they wanted to drown him. Without a path of retreat, there was a flash of cold light in Wang Lin's eyes. It had been a long time since he was pushed into a corner where he could die at a moment of carelessness. His hand formed a seal without hesitation and he pointed up at the sky and shouted, "Call the wind." Black wind appeared within the sea of flowers and gathered on Wang Lin's right hand. It turned into 4 black dragons and blasted out cold air. Without pausing, his right hand changed seals and he shouted, "Summon the rain." As the 4 black dragons roared, a large amount of rain descended and covered the sky. Large amounts of celestial spiritual energy gathered from all directions and entered the raindrops in the blink of an eye. As Call the Wind and Summon the Rain were used in succession, they began to fuse. Within the wind, the power of the rain was mighty, and within the rain, the wind was even colder. As a result, this caused the countless raindrops to turn into ice crystals. As Wang Lin pointed, the 4 black dragons roared and the ice rain fell straight toward the woman in white. This was a moment of crisis, and Wang Lin's eyes turned cold. His hands formed a seal once more, and without hesitation, he shouted, "Magic Arsenal." With that, a ray of black light flew out from his mouth. It was the 18 Hell Celestial Sealing Stamp. The 18 Hell Sealing Stamp flashed brightly. As Wang Lin waved his sleeves, the battle souls inside the stamp flew out and filled the cave. They charged at the woman in white along with Call the Wind and Summon the Rain. Magic Arsenal caused a ripple in the sea of flowers. This was the first time Wang Lin had used all 3 of Bai Fan's celestial spells. The power of the 3 spells was unsurpassable. The black wind blew back the petals and the ice crystals caused popping sounds to echo across the cave. Finally, the countless battle souls from Magic Arsenal, especially Blood Ancestors, swept the area. The 3 spells formed a storm that swept the world. Rumble, rumble. The rumbling was heaven-shaking. The fusion of 3 of Bai Fan's spells forced an opening in the sea of flowers and closed in on the woman in white. Wang Lin took a step forward and cracking sounds came from his body. He changed from his original size to more than 1,000 feet tall. The azure light shield changed with him and became hundreds of feet large. It circled around Wang Lin. The aura of a royal ancient god spread out without reservation. Wang Lin let out a roar as his right hand mercilessly threw a punch. A powerful gust of wind appeared and increased the speed of the 3 spells before it. It broke through everything and arrived before the woman in white. The 4 dragons roared and countless ice crystals rained down. There were also countless battle souls filling the sky. The expression of the woman in white changed slightly as she stared at Wang Lin's large body and softly said, "Ancient God." She raised her right hand, and a flash of green light emitted from her hand. Then a mysterious ball of light appeared. The moment he saw this ball of light, Wang Lin, who had turned into an ancient god, felt that powerful sense of crisis once more. This time it was several times stronger than before, and all of it was because of that ball of light. The woman in white's expression became even colder, and she threw the ball of light. It flew forward at the storm and collided with it in an instant. There was no sound, but the scene before him brought Wang Lin a great deal of shock. The moment that ball of light and the storm touched, they collapsed. The collapse of the ball of light caused a strange change. The 3 spells that were original fused separated back into 3 spells. However, they changed once more and continued to degrade until they disappeared into nothing before the woman. Even the battle souls from Magic Arsenal went back into the 18 Hell Celestial Sealing Stamp. All of this was done in an instant, and Wang Lin's expression changed greatly. His fist had lost the storm around it, but still closed in on the woman in white. The woman in white's expression was calm and her eyes were cold. Another ball of light appeared in her hand and she threw it directly at Wang Lin. Source Origin. Wang Lin clearly felt that there was a sliver of Source Origin inside that ball of light. Only Source Origin could cause the 3 spells to collapse like that. If it touched him, even though he had the body of an ancient god, he would collapse. During this moment of crisis, Wang Lin's third eye suddenly opened. As the ball of light closed in, a sharp, red light came out of the third eye. The power of the third eye was released completely. The moment the third eye opened, the red light opened up like a fan and covered the ball of light. Then the Source Origin inside the third eye slowly came out. This was the first time Wang Lin had battled with the Source Origin energy inside his third eye. Although the red light looked peaceful, it was extremely dangerous. The moment the red light came out of Wang Lin's third eye, the expression of the woman in white changed for the first time. The ball of light dissipated at a rapid rate under the red light. However, as it dissipated, the bit of remaining Source Origin energy within Wang Lin's third eye also rapidly dissipated as if they were cancelling each other out. This process only lasted an instant, but it felt like thousands of years for Wang Lin. After the ball of light dissipated, Wang Lin quickly retreated, then the dim, red light disappeared and the third eye closed. The clothes on his back were soaked in cold sweat as Wang Lin retreated. The woman in white didn't change, But her eyes became serious and she slowly said, "Ancient God, by Fan's celestial spells, source origin energy. Who are you?" Wang Lin dreaded the woman in white a lot, but he had to break through and enter the cave. At this moment, Wang Lin's mind trembled and he remembered the strange expression the old man had after seeing the stop spell. Wang Lin rarely gambled in his life, but right now he had to gamble. If I fail, then I can only escape to find ancient demon Bei Lu to help me break through this celestial cave. No matter what, I must enter. Wang Lin clenched his teeth as he lifted his hand and pointed. The stop spell suddenly appeared. The moment the woman in white saw the stop spell, her expression changed. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he decided to slap his bag of holding. The celestial pagoda appeared and Qing Shuang's corpse floated between Wang Lin and the woman in white. It was as if the woman in white was struck by lightning. Part 254. As the woman stared at Qing Shuang's body, her body trembled. After a long time, she closed her eyes, but the trembling of her eyelashes couldn't conceal the shock in her heart. Wang Lin had his heart at his throat as he closely watched the change in the woman's expression. He was gambling that this woman would recognize the stop spell and that she would recognize Qing Shuang. Although it was the perfect time to launch a sneak attack, Wang Lin didn't do any of this. This woman gave Wang Lin a powerful sense of crisis. When she used that sliver of source origin, Wang Lin was terrified. Though Master Flamespark had the aura of source origin, even he couldn't use it. However, this woman had actually used source origin, which was unimaginable to Wang Lin. When facing this kind of enemy, it was pointless to launch a sneak attack. The surroundings were completely quiet, with only the faint fragrance of the flowers and the petals falling forming a sea of petals. Time slowly passed as the two pondered. After 15 minutes, the woman in white opened her eyes and looked at Qing Shuang's body. She opened her mouth as if she wanted to speak. However, just at this moment, there were a loud rumble from far away in the cave. During this moment of silence, that sound was extremely harsh. At the same time, cursing slowly came from the distance. "Run! No treasure I have my eyes on can escape." Sichu Nan's arrogant voice echoed as he chased after a ray of white light. There was a small bottle inside that white light. This bottle was made of white jade. From a distance, it gave off a mellow light as if it was a fat sheep. Sichu Nan emitted a black gas that surrounded him as he chased after the small bottle. Seeing the small bottle running faster, Sichu Nan's hand formed a seal and black mist appeared before the bottle. The black mist turned into a fierce beast that attempted to devour the small bottle. The small bottle suddenly stopped at the moment the fierce jumped at it, and the bottle shattered into countless fragments. The fragments pierced through the beast and reformed on the other end. Then it sped up and flew forward. Sichu Nan's eyes lit up as he laughed and chased after it once more. As the treasure ran from Sichu Nan, they quickly closed in on Wang Lin and the woman in white. Wang Lin's eyes shined an indiscernible amount. The white bottle was very fast and shot toward the woman in white. The woman in white frowned as she waved her jade-like hand. The bottle gently landed in her hand. However, as soon as the woman in white grabbed the small bottle, it suddenly shattered into countless pieces and flew toward her. Sichu Nan's body flickered and he shouted, "Wang Lin, let's go." Wang Lin didn't hesitate to retrieve Qing Shuang and the pagoda when the bottle landed in the woman's hand. Then he retreated like a bolt of lightning. Sichu Nan's face revealed a fierce expression and both of his hands formed a seal. Then his hand pressed down and he shouted, "Celestial spell, spatial crack." As his voice echoed, a distortion appeared in the space before them. Popping sounds echoed and countless vortexes appeared from nowhere and flew at the woman in white. Taking this opportunity, Sichu Nan quickly retreated and charged toward the entrance of the cave with Wang Lin. The shattered pieces of the white bottle rushed at the woman's face. However, with just one glare, the fragments stopped mid-air. With a calm expression, she walked forward. The countless vortexes formed by Sichu Nan's celestial spell spatial crack rushed forward, but they strangely went through the woman in white. They didn't cause her to slow down at all. "Do you not want to enter the cave?" the woman in white slowly asked as she walked. Although her voice was still cold, there was no killing intent within it. As Wang Lin retreated, A hint of hesitation appeared in his eyes. He stopped and stared at the woman in white. Sichunan frowned and also stopped. Earlier, he had left by himself to search for treasures, but he soon noticed the crisis Wang Lin was facing. In particular, Master Hollow Wind and others' disappearance shocked him. However, with Wang Lin here, he couldn't escape on his own, so he risked coming here to create an opportunity to escape. At the moment he saw Wang Lin stop, Sichunan also stopped without hesitation. He coldly stared at the woman in white that was closing in. Wang Lin clasped his hands and calmly asked, "Is Senior allowing us to enter?" The woman in white pondered for a long time before letting out a sigh. She turned around toward the palace and said, "Follow me." With that, the woman in white floated toward the palace. Wang Lin pondered a bit before glancing at Sichunan. Sichunan's eyes lit up and he slowly said, "This person is somewhat strange. If you won't follow, then the two of you can leave. Your companions will be waiting for you outside." The woman's faint voice came from the palace. Her figure had already arrived outside the palace and entered the darkness of the palace with a single step. Thinking of the change in the woman's expression, Wang Lin's eyes filled with determination and he slowly said, "Sichu, I'm going in by myself." Sichunan naturally knew that if both of them entered and anything happened, they'd have no way to resist. He nodded without saying a word. There was something between him and Wang Lin that didn't need to be explained. It was a kind of trust. Wang Lin didn't say any more. He charged forward and arrived before the palace in the blink of an eye. Then He took a deep breath and stepped into the palace. The palace was completely dark. Not only did this darkness obstruct his vision, it also obstructed his divine sense. He could only spread his divine sense out a few dozen feet around him. Wang Lin could see few large shadows that were like statues. However, it was too dark, so he couldn't see clearly. This palace was completely quiet aside from the soft footsteps before him that told him the woman in white was gradually walking away. Just at this moment, the footsteps disappeared and a faint voice sounded within the hall. "What is your name?" Wang Lin answered, "Wang Lin." "Wang," the woman seemed to be talking to herself as she muttered, "He really is named Wang." The palace became silent once more. Although Wang Lin's expression was neutral, he was extremely vigilant. His origin energy filled his body, and if there were any abnormalities, he would retaliate. In addition, the third eye appeared between his eyebrows. Although it wasn't open, the source origin energy inside would spread out with a thought. Wang Lin dreaded the woman in white a lot. He was at the peak of the mid-stage of Nirvana Scryer and could fight Nirvana Cleanser cultivators with his ancient god body. However, Wang Lin knew that he wasn't a match for this woman. However, there was something he had to do even if it was dangerous. That's just how Wang Lin was. While pondering, the woman seemed to wave her right hand and a ray of light appeared. This light wasn't ordinary, it was like a fire in the darkness as it quickly lit up the area in a dim glow. Borrowing the dim light, Wang Lin clearly saw what was inside the palace, and he gasped. This palace was like a Daoist temple of the mortals. There was a total 9 statues inside the palace. 8 statues were on the sides, and the one at the center seemed to be carved with various things and gave off a glimmer of gold. However, this golden light was very weak. The moment it appeared, it would be devoured by the darkness. As a result, it could only be kept inside the statue, making the statue give off a strange aura. This was a statue of a middle-aged man. He was very handsome and his eyes had a profound look. He wore a yellow robe and gave off the aura of a noble. The yellow robe had 9 purple dragons embroidered on it and revealed their ferocious expressions. Although they were mere images, one could still feel their unimaginable fierceness. In addition, there were carved clouds that filled the background. However, these clouds weren't white, but black. These black clouds made the middle-aged man look very dignified. When Wang Lin looked at the middle-aged man, he felt a buzz in his mind, and an unimaginable aura smashed into his body. This aura was the strongest aura Wang Lin had ever felt. Whether it was Qing Shui, Master Flamespark, or the All-Seer, their auras were far weaker. Even the mysterious third step elder from All Heaven was a bit weaker. This aura was so powerful, it created an invisible impact. Only one look from Wang Lin made his body tremble, causing him to cough out blood. He quickly retreated and wanted to use his origin energy, only to discover that, to his horror, his origin energy had retreated. It had shrank back as if it was afraid to appear before this power. There was an invisible pressure that caused the origin energy inside Wang Lin's body to be suppressed by force the moment it moved. No matter how much his origin energy struggled, it was pointless. The world's origin energy had to yield before this statue. Wang Lin was frightened. At this moment, he could only hear his heart rapidly beating. It was as if his blood had stopped flowing, but the next moment, all his blood rushed toward his heart. Wang Lin had never encountered this kind of situation in his more than 1,300 years of cultivation, but now was not the time to think about it. His origin energy couldn't be used, and the blood flowing inside his body made him tremble. An unimaginable pressure wanted to make him kneel and yield to the might of this statue. Wang Lin's eyes shined red as he let out a roar and his ancient god power erupted. Ancient gods didn't respect the heavens or followed Tao, they walked against the heavens. It was part of the ancient order. How could a mere statue make an ancient god yield? As his ancient god power filled his body, Wang Lin stood up straight. His eyes were like lightning as he met the gaze of the statue for a second time. He felt a rumbling in his mind that spread across his body. While his body trembled, his eyes revealed an unyielding gaze. There is nothing that can make ancient gods yield. The heavens can't, the laws of the world can't, and you also can't. The ancient god stars rapidly rotated between Wang Lin's eyebrows, and popping sound could be heard from inside his body. Although he didn't grow into his true ancient god form, the strength of his body increased rapidly. His powerful body allowed more ancient god power to fill him. Wang Lin was able to stand there like mountain as an unyielding aura erupted from his body. This aura resisted the suppression the statue released. Silent ripples echoed, forming a storm that swept through the hall, causing Wang Lin to retreat once more. Wang Lin let out a roar as he struggled to stop while he stared at the statue. At this moment, he had the illusion that the statue was alive and was coldly looking at him. Roar. Wang Lin suddenly raised his head and the roar of an ancient god was released. All life had to back down before the roar of the ancient gods. None of them were qualified to stand before it. When he let out the roar, the entire cave began to rumble as if it couldn't withstand this roar. At the same time, Wang Lin raised his foot and mercilessly took a step forward. Although this step was simple, it was very difficult for Wang Lin. When facing this unimaginable pressure and aura that could make one collapse, the only path was to retreat. However, to retreat was to yield, and if he couldn't reverse the situation, he would have completely yielded. The ancient gods dared to defy the heavens and Tao. If he were to yield to this mere statue, Wang Lin wouldn't be qualified to be a real ancient god. With that one step, Wang Lin could hear the terrifying sounds of things shattering inside his body. Taking this step meant that he was directly confronting that pressure and discarding any room for negotiation. However, this was what the ancient god inheritance within Wang Lin wanted. Retreating 10 steps, 100 steps, or even standing still and struggling while not losing was still too weak-willed. This will determined that the Tao you walked could only follow the will of the heavens. However, talking one step was very different. This meant rebellion, this meant defying. After this step, the pressure from the statue increased several-fold. It was as if countless mountains had smashed down on Wang Lin, not allowing him to resist. Blood sprayed out of the pores in his back, but he took another step forward. I, Wang Lin, am a heaven-defying cultivator. I dare to defy the heavens and fate, so how could I back down here? Wang Lin's step was like walking upstream and angering the heavens. An even more powerful pressure crashed down on him. A seeker of Tao could be born at dawn and die by sunset. A heaven-defying cultivator has a defiant heart. What is there to fear? It is merely death. Under this unimaginable pressure, blood sprayed out from Wang Lin's body. He was covered in blood, but he laughed. His laughter was filled with an unyielding aura. The current Wang Lin had a clear mind as all useless thoughts were thrown away. The only thing in his mind was the word defy. Back then, he defied the heavens in the demon spirit land to reach the ascendant stage. Here, he faced the pressure once more in the demon spirit land. The defying nature that was sealed by Wang Lin and suppressed during his time at All Heaven bloomed once more. Everything was like karma. While he laughed, Wang Lin took another step. The moment he took the third step, the pressure in the palace disappeared as if it never existed. The woman in white stared at Wang Lin from under the statue and revealed a complex emotion. Only Wang Lin's laughter echoed in the palace and slowly dissipated. The moment he saw the statue, he guessed who the person was. The person's appearance was somewhat similar to Qing Shuang's. Also, only one person could have a mere statue give off such a powerful pressure. Celestial Emperor Qing Lin. Wang Lin's back was soaked in sweat. The danger he felt just before was unprecedented. If not for the power of the ancient gods, he would have immediately exploded and died. There was a trace of coldness in Wang Lin's gaze as he looked at the woman in white. The woman in white lowered her head and softly said, "You have passed the test." Wang Lin calmly asked, "Who are you?" "One of the 8 imperial concubines, Flower Imperial Concubine Han Yang." The woman looked at the statue. Her eyes were filled with a gentle gaze and a deep sense of love. She let out a sigh and waved her jade-like hand. The ground trembled and the floor tiles shook and floated into the air. It was as if a strange force had filled the area, causing all the floor tiles to fly into the air. They formed a strange formation between Wang Lin and the woman in white. Without the floor tiles, the floor showed the starry sky. The darkness was filled with countless nebulae and dazzling stars. What was even more incredible was that the stars weren't static, but slowly moving. This caused Wang Lin's eyes to narrow. This demon spirit land is a celestial cave, and it drifts in space via a special method. What you see is no an illusion, but reality. Enter this transfer array and you can enter the sealed land. If you have the ability to open it, you can enter the real celestial cave. Is that celestial cave where Celestial Emperor Qing Lin is? Wang Lin's gaze moved from the stars to the formation made by the floor tiles. The woman in white silently pondered and looked at the statue. After a long time, she softly said, "When he came back, he was already injured. Then he was attacked by 2 lowly outsiders. After he returned, he activated the celestial cave to heal. Originally, there was no entrance, but then he created 4 entrances. If all 4 entrances are opened, a true entrance will appear in the demon spirit land to where he is under closed-door cultivation. You have the stop spell, Qing Shuang's corpse, and are named Wang, so I won't stop you. After you enter the transfer array, your companions will appear in your mind." The woman let out a sigh as she turned around and walked into the depth of the hall. Wang Lin looked at her figure that was filled with loneliness and melancholy. Wang Lin quickly asked, "What do you mean by named Wang?" "If there is a chance, you will find out." The voice of the woman in white was weak as she slowly sank into the darkness. Wang Lin looked at the distance and quickly said, "With Senior's power, why won't you come with me?" The woman in white that had half entered the darkness suddenly stopped. Her back was facing Wang Lin when she revealed a bitter expression and softly said, "I can't go." As she spoke, her body completely entered the darkness and disappeared. The woman in white appeared within the depths of the palace where Wang Lin couldn't perceive her. The bitter expression on her face was still there. She gave off a white glow, but this white light merged with the darkness, so no one outside could see it. The woman gradually stopped moving and an azure light spread across her feet. Soon, it covered her body and she disappeared in a flash. What replaced her was an extremely beautiful flower that bloomed in the depths of the hall. The Flower Imperial Concubine is already dead. The only thing that remains is a flower celestial that can't leave this cave. The flower bloomed, but there was a feeling of sadness as this beauty bloomed in the darkness, where no one could see it. While Wang Lin pondered, he looked at the transfer array before him and stepped inside. However, the moment he approached, his gaze fell on the darkness in the distance as if he had spotted something. He entered the transfer array and it began to shine. Then Wang Lin's figure disappeared inside. When he reappeared, he was in an illusory space, and a large formation was carved into the ground. There was a large black stone at the center. After carefully observing his surroundings, Wang Lin entered the large formation and arrived next to the black stone. A moment later, He slapped his bag of holding and the key to the celestial cave that he obtained flew out. The moment it flew out, it turned into green smoke and entered the black stone. In an instant, light came from the large formation. One by one, the runes floated into the air and filled the area. The formation slowly became active. The moment the formation activated, a subtle connection appeared between the formation and Wang Lin. He felt his vision blur, then he saw everything within the fourth cave. It was as if the entire cave was in his mind. With one thought, he could break any restriction and control everything. Except he had no control over the palace. He saw Sichu Nan and Master Hollow Wind and company, who had disappeared under the sea of flowers. With a thought, Master Hollow Wind, the three Chen brothers, Big Head, and Lei Ji disappeared. Sichu Nan stood there frowning. Ever since Wang Lin had disappeared, he had been on guard, and a cold light flashed across his eyes. Just at this moment, Sichu Nan's expression changed as he felt a divine sense sweep past him. This divine sense was very familiar. Wang Lin. Sichu Nan's body disappeared after Wang Lin's divine sense swept by. When he reappeared, he was next to the large formation. The cave has been opened completely. Lei Ji, your cultivation is lacking, so wait here for us to return. As Wang Lin's voice echoed, the formation on the ground began to flash. At the same time, a shocking change occurred in the demon spirit land. There was a vast plain in the northern part of the demon spirit land. At this moment, a mysterious change occurred in the sky above the plain. The clouds began to gather from all directions, covered the sky in a sea of clouds. There were whistling sounds coming from the sky in the distance. Then a pillar of light came out from the plain. This pillar seemed to support the sky of the demon spirit land, and a thunderous rumble came from it. As it continued to rise, a large amount of ripples carrying powerful impacts spread out and caused the clouds to retreat. As a result, this pillar of light pierced through the heavens. It turned into rings of light that slowly spread across the sky. The moment the pillar of light appeared, rich celestial spiritual energy spread out and covered almost 30% of the demon spirit land. There were a few ugly, black birds that flew by and were swept by the celestial spiritual energy by coincidence. The black birds' bodies trembled and then large amounts of black gas came out from their bodies and dissipated. After the black gas was gone, the black birds suddenly changed into white cranes. They let out joyful cries and their eyes filled with intelligence as they flew away in a beautiful arc. The demon spirit land was filled with demonic energy, which was the source of energy for the inhabitants to cultivate. At this moment, a shocking scene unfolded in the sky. The demonic energy that filled the demon spirit land collided with the celestial spiritual energy that appeared. There were fierce collisions as, like fire and water, the two wouldn't mix, causing a strange change to occur. However, the demonic energy here was too strong and the celestial spiritual energy from one pillar wasn't enough. It was soon suppressed by the surrounding demonic energy. However, as even more celestial spiritual energy came out from the pillar, it was finally able to cover the surrounding 50 kilometers. There was enough celestial spiritual energy to prevent the demonic energy from suppressing it completely. Everything in the 50 kilometers space was filled with celestial spiritual energy, while the outside was full of demonic energy. A balance was reached where celestial spiritual energy couldn't expand but demonic energy couldn't invade. Just at this moment, Ling Tianhu, the middle-aged man in purple, and the famous Master Void were sitting in the center of the formation in the third cave. Ling Tianhu's eyes opened and shined brightly. Without hesitation, his right hand reached out and a crack appeared. Large amounts of green smoke came out of the crack and the key to the cave slowly appeared. It only took him 7 days to open the fourth cave. I had already overestimated Wang Lin, but it seems I was still looking down on him. I spent nearly 1 month opening the third cave, Ling Tianhu pondered as his right pointed at the black stone at the center of the formation below him. The smoke immediately surrounded the black stone and went inside it. Then the black stone trembled and the formation activated. In western part of the demon spirit land, the land that belonged to the spirit demon country. At this moment, the sky changed colors and a pillar of light shot up into the air. As the pillar of light shot up, waves of impacts began to spread outwards endlessly. The pillar shot into the sky along with a loud rumble. Dense celestial spiritual energy spread out and began another collision with the demonic energy in the demon spirit land. At this moment, the pillars from the north and west seemed to resonate with each other as they flashed violently. Their power increased as they attempted to break the 50-kilometer barrier and expand outward. At the same time, another pillar of light shot into the sky in the south. Even more celestial spiritual energy erupted, and another battle between celestial and demonic energy began. The All-Seer was sitting inside the second cave, looking at the formation with a calm gaze. However, there was an strange, almost indiscernible light that flashed across his eyes. 7 days, the All-Seer silently pondered. It was impossible to tell what he was thinking or feeling. 3 pillars of light appeared one after another in the demon spirit land, attracting the attention of the powerhouses in the demon spirit land. The drastic change in demonic energy caused them to panic. The demon spirit land that hadn't changed for countless years was undergoing an unimaginable change when the 3 pillars of light appear. The celestial spiritual energy that spread out from the 3 pillars seemed to begin 3 battles against the demonic energy. Aside from the east, the rest of the sky above the demon spirit land was filled with colorful lights. However, there was simply too much demonic energy that had gathered over the countless years. As a result, the celestial spiritual energy of the 3 pillars wasn't enough to shake the demon spirit land. Inside the first cave, the celestial cloud cultivation pair quietly stood within the large formation. Although Wang Wei looked calm, there was a hint of unsuppressible excitement in his eyes. He took a deep breath and muttered, "This day. The day we waited for has finally arrived." Hu Huan stood beside him, holding Wang Wei's hand, and softly said, "We will succeed this time. We planned for so long, we must succeed this time." Wang Wei nodded. There was a purple shadow behind them. It gave off a fierce aura and vaguely revealed an aura Wang Lin would be very familiar with. The demon spirit land. Who knew that this place used to be called the celestial spirit heaven realm? Wang Wei let out a sigh and pointed his right hand toward the black stone in the formation. The black stone flashed and the formation activated. The demonic energy is like a poison. Today, let its true form reappear. Wang Wei's eyes shined brightly. A pillar of light shot up straight into the sky in the eastern part of the demon spirit land. Along with it, endless celestial spiritual energy spread out. At this instant the 4 pillars of light from the east, south, west, and north changed. It was as if they had linked together to form a giant formation. Large amounts of celestial spiritual energy rushed out, and now it was several times stronger than before. It created a storm of celestial spiritual energy that swept across the demon spirit land. As the celestial spiritual energy swept across the dark red land, it was as if a layer of dust was wiped off, revealing the healthy black earth. The various plants sprout new life as the storm swept by. The celestial storm swept through the dense jungle. The monstrous trees in the demonic jungle trembled and all returned to their original forms as towering trees. Even some of the monsters inside the jungle trembled when the celestial spiritual energy storm swept by. At this moment, there was a black tiger with a single horn on its head laying low, and its eyes were shining. It was staring ahead with slobber in the corner of its mouth. Before it stood a group of demonic deer. The deer were purple and were tearing each other apart within any hint of being docile. Just as the black tiger was about to pounce, the celestial spiritual energy storm swept by. It was as if a storm had swept away all the demonic energy. Without the demonic energy, the ground was no longer red and became green once more. The deer that were biting each other all tumbled on the ground. The purple of their bodies faded, revealing their original colors, and they gave off a celestial feeling. The black tiger that was going to pounce trembled and let out a roar. The horn on its head shattered and its black fur turned white. It was filled with celestial spiritual energy, and then the fierceness was gone and was replaced with intelligence. As the celestial spiritual energy storm swept by, the demonic jungle changed completely. From a distance, it looked like the celestial realm. Although the river outside the jungle looked clear, it was filled with demonic energy. If one drank it for too long, demonic energy would gather and change their physique. Even the fishes in the river became strange with the invasion of demonic energy. A fish the size of your palm had sharp teeth that could easily tear mortals to pieces. However, the moment the celestial spiritual energy swept by, it was as if a layer of fog had swept by. The river became even more clear and gave off a refreshing feeling. Even the water itself contained a hint of dry sweetness. The fishes inside trembled and changed from their hideous appearances into very colorful appearances. Then the fishes began playing inside the river. If you looked from above, you would clearly see that the entire demon spirit land was changing as the celestial spiritual energy swept by. It was as if the world should be like this, but something that happened countless years ago caused this place to become a demonic land. Now the 4 pillars of light were releasing celestial spiritual energy that quickly cleansed the demonic energy from this land. The darkness on the ground melted like snow as light replaced it. The demonic energy that filled the place was quickly pushed away. It was as if the demon spirit land had been covered in a veil of demonic energy and now it was mercilessly removed, exposing its true form. All the cities and tribes of the demon spirit land were swept by this demonic energy. Every single person's face was filled with pain as they fell down, unable to stand still. Demonic energy came out of their bodies and was dissipated by the celestial spiritual energy. All the demonic energy that had been stored up for years was now all gone. Now that they had regained consciousness, there was no longer any demonic energy left inside their bodies. Instead, it was replaced with a refreshing feeling and confusion. As the 4 pillars continued to release celestial spiritual energy, it slowly filled the world. As it swept across the land, even the sky brightened up. All the demonic energy seemed to dissipate under this rich celestial spiritual energy. From a distance, it was filled with green mountains and clear rives. The cranes flew in the air and the cries of spirit beasts were heard. There were no longer any demonic beasts left. Celestial spirit heaven realm, however, there were still a few places where the demonic energy lingered in the restored celestial spirit heaven realm. No matter how much celestial spiritual energy rushed into the area, the demonic energy wouldn't move. In a valley in the celestial spirit heaven realm, there was a pool of water. A demonic face appeared in the pool. He looked at the celestial spiritual energy that had swept by, and his eyes released a demonic glow. Qing Lin planned this well. I didn't expect such a big change to occur when the cave was opened. If I hadn't absorbed the other ancient demon spirit, I would have been completely suppressed right now. However, none of this matters now. Even if the demon spirit land returns back to what it was, it doesn't matter. Now that the cave is open, I'll succeed this time. Ancient devil, celestial emperor, I, Bailu am coming. The ancient demon revealed a ferocious expression as he rushed out of the pool of water in a ray of demonic light. The celestial spiritual energy swept by him, but when it got close to him, it was absorbed by the demonic light around him and increased his demonic energy. In the underground cavern under a demon country in the celestial spirit heaven realm, Yarrow Shishua raised her head the moment the celestial spiritual energy swept by. The moment she felt the celestial spiritual energy, her body trembled. Then her eyes released a ghostly glow and a powerful demonic energy surrounded her. The demonic energy formed a large vortex that absorbed all the celestial spiritual energy around her. The celestial spiritual energy was crushed and absorbed. Yarrow Shishua's body flickered and disappeared. When she reappeared, she was floating in the air. Her entire body gave off a powerful demonic aura that covered up her appearance, but her cold aura was still strong. After pausing for a moment, she turned into a ray of demonic light and charged ahead. There was another place that was spared from the celestial spiritual energy. That was the fire demon country, where the soul refining sect was. The celestial spiritual energy flew by the statue of Wang Lin within the depths of the soul refining sect. The celestial spiritual energy tried to dissipate the demonic energy inside, but a sharp cry came out from within the statue. The moment the celestial spiritual energy arrived, the millions of soul refining sect disciples felt the anxiety within the cry. Without anyone taking charge, almost all of the disciples took out their soul flags. Countless soul fragments appeared and formed a protective layer around the stone statue. The entire capital of the soul refining sect was surrounded by countless soul fragments that whistled to confront the celestial spiritual energy. However, The celestial spiritual energy was too powerful, and the soul refining sect was like a lonely boat floating among angry waves. The millions of soul refining sect disciples were filled with fear, but they clenched their teeth and held on. Just at this moment, a portion of the celestial spiritual energy changed as if it had its own will. Not only did it not attack, it formed a vortex to help the soul refining sect resist the other three portions of celestial spiritual energy. The three portions of celestial spiritual energy didn't attack by force and instead went around. The vortex around the soul refining sect quickly stopped and fused back with the other three to sweep across the world. When the celestial spiritual energy filled the celestial spirit heaven realm, the four pillars shined brightly, causing the land to be enveloped in light. The four pillars of light were connected by the light as if a layer of protection was woven above the celestial spirit heaven realm. The celestial spirit heaven realm of the past activated its own protection formation once more. At this instant, as the light filled the sky and the protection formation was reactivated, a big change occurred in the center of the celestial spirit heaven realm. There was an endless mountain range in the center of the four pillars. The earth shook, large amounts of the mountain fell off, and dust flew into the air. From a distance, everything was covered by dust. Purple light came from one of the mountains that were collapsing, revealing a purple dragon. The purple dragon let out a roar and the remaining mountains crumbled. The purple dragon rose into the air and let out a heaven-shaking dragon roar. This dragon was extremely dignified and revealed an extremely cold gaze. After it appeared, another mountain range collapsed and a second purple dragon appeared. Then more mountains collapsed and other purple dragons appeared one by one. In the end, there were 9 purple dragons in the sky, and they let out a dragon roar that seemed to last forever. These 9 purple dragons intersected with each other, and as the purple light flashed, they formed a formation. The moment this formation was formed, the celestial spiritual energy within the area exploded greatly. The 9 dragon formation floated in the air and flashed a violet glow. It could even be seen from a distance, and it gave off a purple glow. The sky outside the formation twisted and then 3 people walked out. They were Ling Tianhu, the middle-aged man in purple, and between them was Master Void. He opened his eyes and they shined brightly. Shortly after the 3 of them appeared, the space before them twisted and another person walked out. The moment this person appeared, Ling Tianhu's eyes became fierce. Master Void also raised his head to look at the All-Seer. The All-Seer's expression was normal as he looked at Master Void and calmly said, "All-Seer greets fellow cultivator Void." Master Void faintly smiled and nodded. "Ling Tianhu invited me, so this old man came to see." The All-Seer looked at the 9 dragon formation and calmly said, "I wasn't confident with just my strength, but since fellow cultivator Void is here, there should be no problem with this trip." As the two spoke, 2 different distortions in space appeared on the opposite sides of the formation. It was the celestial cloud cultivation couple and Wang Lin. An illusionary figure followed the celestial cloud cultivation couple. Behind Wang Lin was Sichu Nan, Master Hollow Wind, and company. When the 2 sides appeared, they began to gauge the other. The moment Wang Lin appeared, the figure behind Wang Wei trembled as he carefully looked at Wang Lin. His eyes revealed regret and gratification. Wang Lin's gaze landed on the celestial cloud cultivation couple. He had seen them before, but he didn't know them. However, he immediately recognized the shadow behind them as Ju Yi. Wang Wei looked at Wang Lin with interest and smiled. "You're Wang Lin, the one who took the key to the 4th cave?" Wang Lin's expression was calm, but his eyes were filled with caution. He couldn't see through the cultivation of his man before him, and the woman beside this man also had a cultivation he couldn't see through. Celestial cloud cultivation couple. Wang Lin once heard about this cultivation couple form Yarrow Shishue. After they took control of a cave, they never left. These 2 had to be that cultivation couple. Wang Lin calmly said, "I am." Hu Huan, who was next to Wang Wei, smiled at Wang Wei. "You lost our bet from back then." Wang Wei smiled and nodded, then he smiled at Wang Lin. "Was the restriction at the entrance to the Tide Abyss at the Fire Demon Country placed by you?" As Wang Wei spoke, he waved his hand and a blade of grass appeared. The moment Wang Lin saw the grass, He recognized it as a restriction he had placed back then. His expression didn't change and he nodded. The younger generation will surpass us in time. When I was your age, I wasn't able to place such intricate restrictions. Wang Wei let out a sigh and his eyes filled with admiration. Senior is exaggerating. As Wang Lin spoke, his gaze seemed to casually sweep by the shadow behind Wang Wei. The moment Wang Lin's gaze swept by, Zhu Yi's eyes flashed faintly. Wang Lin immediately understood. Just at this moment, several rays of light came from the distance. The one in front was the beautiful middle-aged woman. Behind her were her 4 disciples, including Chen Qin and the one that could be the next brilliant Void Saintress. The beautiful woman arrived and looked around. First she greeted the All-Seer, then she carefully looked at the celestial cloud cultivation couple, and then gave a friendly nod toward Wang Lin. Finally, she arrived next to Master Void. The All-Seer's expression was normal, but he frowned. 2 old men arrived after the beautiful woman. It was the old man sitting on the gourd and the man in black. The old man on the gourd looked at everyone. When he saw the celestial cloud cultivation couple, his pupils shrank, and after pondering for a moment, he arrived next to the All-Seer. As for the man in black, he didn't speak and stood next to Wang Lin and company. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he looked at the man in black. Wang Lin hadn't even talked to this person once, but he vaguely felt that this person had a cold and arrogant personality and that he didn't like to be close to people. The man in black looked at Wang Lin and spoke for the first time. "Take me in." Wang Lin pondered for a bit and nodded. The 9-dragon formation slowly rotated under the purple light. However, at this moment, a powerful demonic flame charged toward here. In an instant, the demonic flame arrived and turned into a human figure. However, it was surrounded by demonic energy, making it impossible to clearly see the person's face. It was even impossible to tell if they were male or female. However, the moment this figure appeared, Wang Lin suddenly looked over. At this moment, the demonic figure also looked at Wang Lin. Its eyes revealed a powerful sense of hatred, and this person gazed straight at Wang Lin like a sword. However, this person suddenly withdrew their gaze and stood next to the All-Seer. The All-Seer was neutral as he nodded. However, his gaze fell in the distance, and this time there was a hint of anticipation in his eyes. A bold young man in red slowly walked in from the distance. He was very handsome and revealed a demonic sense of beauty. His head was completely smooth without a strand of hair. There was celestial spiritual energy surrounding him. He first looked at Wang Lin and smiled. "Little brother Wang, I came late." "Bei Lu." Wang Lin's expression was calm as he nodded. "You're not late, this is a good time." The appearance of the bald-headed young man caused Master Void's pupils to shrink. There was a flash of coldness in the eyes of the celestial cloud cultivation couple. Only the All-Seer gradually revealed a smile. The 9-dragon formation activated and celestial spiritual energy filled the area. As the 9 purple dragons moved and roared, there was an intense flash of purple light that covered the surrounding 50-kilometer area. The light quickly passed, and everyone's figures disappeared. The 5th cave had opened. This video will end here.